My fiancée slept with my best man. So I did the unthinkable on our wedding day in front of everyone. This was my moment, and I made sure they'd never forget it. My name is Nathan Carter, and I'm 33 years old. For most of my adult life, I believed that love was sacred, something you nurtured, protected, and honored. To me, marriage wasn't just a ceremony or a contract. It was a promise, a vow that said, I choose you today, tomorrow, and every day after that. I didn't grow up chasing fairy tales. I grew up respecting loyalty. I believed that love was built not in grand gestures, but in the small, consistent acts of devotion. It was waking up beside the same person and choosing them again and again, even on the hard days. It was trust, the kind you could stake your life on. It was respect, transparency, commitment, even when no one's watching. I thought Juliana understood that too. And I thought my best man, my best friend, respected it. The rehearsal dinner was a blur. Laughs echoed, champagne flowed, and smiles were worn like polished masks. The room glowed with what everyone thought was joy. People toasted to forever, clinked glasses to soulmates, and looked at us like we were the perfect couple stepping into our perfect beginning. But underneath all the glittering lights and floral arrangements, something much darker was hiding. Everyone believed this was the picture-perfect beginning of a forever love story. But for me, Nathan Carter, the groom, it was the beginning of the end. I've always been the grounded one. Steady, loyal, practical to a fault. The kind of man who didn't play games with hearts, who showed up, stayed late, kept his word. I built my life around the idea that trust is everything. Once broken, it's never whole again. My best man, Ryan Walker, was nothing like me. Charismatic, wild, utterly allergic to commitment. He was the guy who thrived in the temporary, a serial flirt, a man who treated relationships like layovers. Never settled, never promised, never stayed. He partied like there were no consequences and collected women like stamps on a passport. But he had a spark, a magnetic charm that made people overlook the damage in his wake. And I did too. I called him my brother, trusted him like blood, led him into the most sacred corners of my life. Until the night everything shattered, and the people I thought I knew most revealed the kind of betrayal you can't prepare for. The kind that doesn't just break your heart. It makes you question if you ever really knew love at all. It was supposed to be a night to remember. Ryan insisted on organizing the bachelor party. No strippers, just class, he'd said, smirking. A private rooftop lounge, cigars, vintage whiskey, and my closest friends. As the night wore on and the others faded off into drunken laughter and sleep, I went to retrieve a charger from Ryan's bag. He had passed out on the couch, shirt half open, phone buzzing beside him. It was a message preview that caught my eye. Last night still lingers on my skin. This no-strings, secret chaos has spiced up my entire life. You make me feel free. The contact name read, Jules. Jules. Short for Juliana. My fiancée. My breath caught. I unlocked the phone. A password I had seen Ryan use 100 times before. Message after message. Photos. Dates. Times. Even one voice note where Juliana whispered, I can't wait to sneak away again. You and me, no titles, no expectations, just fire. My world spun. Like a dam breaking, memories came flooding in. The flirtatious glances across dinner tables. The playful touches she'd brush off as harmless. Her laughter, just a little too loud when Ryan made a joke. The way her eyes lingered on him when she thought I wasn't looking. I chalked it all up to charisma, to comfort, to our tight-knit circle. I never imagined it was something deeper, something dangerous. She had this way of making you feel like you were the only one in the room. She was warm, affectionate, effortlessly magnetic, the kind of woman people gravitated toward. Everyone adored Juliana. She was smart, driven, endlessly elegant. The type who sent handwritten thank you notes and remembered your coffee order. The type who made you feel chosen. And I fell hard for that. She was always busy, always on the move, hosting charity events, attending brand conferences, planning spontaneous girl trips to wine country or beachside resorts. I never questioned it. I supported her independence. I admired her passion. I even encouraged those weekends away because I believed in space and trust. But then came the work conferences that strangely aligned with Ryan's business trips. Different cities, same weekends. Coincidences I shrugged off. Because when you're in love, You want to believe the best. Even that night last year when I stopped by her apartment and found Ryan's jacket hanging on the back of her chair. She said he'd dropped it off earlier. No big deal. Casual. She laughed like I was being silly for asking. And I believed her. Because I wanted to. Because I trusted her. Because I loved her more than I loved the truth. My loyalty blinded me. But not anymore. I didn't confront them right away. I didn't scream, didn't accuse. I became composed. The next morning, before Ryan woke, I airdropped the incriminating photos and messages to my own phone, then uploaded everything to a secure cloud server under a private folder. Wedding confession, auto-publish 3:30 p.m. I changed the settings. A timed link would send to all guests at a precise moment during the wedding reception. I hired a discreet private investigator that day to sever any remaining joint financial ventures. The prenup? I told Juliana we didn't need one. Our love is real, I said with a smile. I knew we wouldn't legally sign the papers anyway, because the wedding would never reach that point. I also quietly closed our shared business account, ensured her name was removed from the condo lease, and restructured the will I had lovingly updated just months ago. The sun shone too brightly. It almost felt like the universe was mocking me, daring me to wear a smile while it scorched the truth into my skin. I stood at the altar, my tailored suit flawless, my smile perfectly timed, my hands calm. On the outside, I looked like any other groom, in love, confident, ready. But inside, I was hollowed out. A storm raged just beneath the surface, and no one could see it. I had rehearsed this part to perfection, every breath, every look, every movement carefully controlled. Then she appeared. Juliana walked down the aisle, radiant in lace and deception. Her beauty stunned the room, but all I could see was the woman who had kissed another man, my best man, while planning this very day with me. Every shimmer of her dress felt like a lie sewn in silk. Her smile? A weapon. Her eyes? A trap. And there was Ryan, standing just inches away from me, grinning like he hadn't spent months sneaking around with the woman I was about to marry. His confidence was nauseating. His eyes danced like the joke was still going, like I was still the fool. But I played my part. I said my vows with tender affection, voice steady, words rehearsed to feel real, even though each syllable made my throat burn. I let her say hers, standing there as she spoke of loyalty, devotion, and forever. While I already knew forever had ended weeks ago in a hotel room I wasn't invited to. I even kissed her when prompted. The crowd clapped. The photographer snapped. It was all a performance. And I was the lead. The reception began. Champagne flowed. Applause echoed. We danced. We smiled for photos. Everyone kept saying how perfect we looked. Perfect. What a cruel word. At 3:28 p.m., I excused myself to the stage. My heart wasn't racing, it was resolved. I took the microphone and scanned the room. Family, friends, co-workers, old college roommates, all gathered for a celebration of love. What they didn't know was that I hadn't come here to celebrate. I came to set the record straight. I cleared my throat and said, love is a sacred thing. It's built on honesty, trust, and loyalty. Today, I was supposed to marry the woman of my dreams and celebrate with my best friend by my side. But dreams sometimes hide nightmares. I paused. My eyes moved to Juliana, her smile now a stiff, trembling mask. Her hands clutched the edge of her dress as if fabric could somehow protect her from what was coming. Her face twitched with unease, panic creeping in fast. She looked around the room, trying to read the crowd, trying to figure out what I knew. Ryan shifted in his chair, his posture suddenly less relaxed, like he'd felt the shift in the air, like he knew the spotlight was about to burn. I want to thank Juliana and Ryan for teaching me what betrayal looks like up close, for showing me that appearances can lie, and that love should never be confused with convenience. While I may not be signing any marriage papers today, I did sign something far more important, a release. From lies, from manipulation, from pretending. I held up the remote. My thumb hovered over the button for only a second before I clicked. The projector behind me lit up, and the photos began. Juliana and Ryan, in bed, kissing, half-dressed in hotel rooms. Messages, voice notes, dates. Gasps exploded around the room. Someone dropped a glass. Murmurs turned into shouts. Juliana clutched her face with both hands, shaking her head, her breath coming in frantic bursts. No, no, Please, stop, she whispered, trying to shield herself from the screen, from the phones now pointed in her direction. Her perfect world was crumbling in real time. Ryan stood halfway, arm outstretched as if to stop the footage, but froze under the weight of the crowd's eyes. He opened his mouth to speak, but every word was drowned in the roar of judgment, disgust, disbelief. The room fell into chaos. People moved back. Some whispered. Others filmed. But I stayed right where I was, steady, calm, free. And for the first time in a long time, I finally felt in control. I stepped off the stage with grace. Not rage, not arrogance, just the calm that comes after a storm you no longer fear. My heart wasn't racing. My hands weren't shaking. I had nothing left to hide, and nothing left to lose. I walked outside into the golden light, free. The fresh air hit my face like a blessing, like the universe was telling me, you did what needed to be done. I could hear the commotion inside, voices rising, emotions unraveling, the sound of reality crashing down on lies that had been dressed up in white satin. Juliana? She was left behind in that room of shocked guests, her hands still covering her face, mascara streaked down her cheeks, mumbling apologies to people who no longer believed her. Her perfect bridal image shattered in one afternoon. Her family, once proudly seated in the front row, beaming, couldn't even look at her. Her father walked out behind me, red-faced and silent, and her mother was heard telling someone, "She's no daughter of mine." She faced public humiliation. The videos, the projector footage, it all made its way online within hours. Her career, in PR, of all things, crumbled like the illusion she built. Clients dropped her. Her agency distanced themselves. Her reputation, once polished and admired, was blacklisted in days. And Ryan? He tried to disappear. But the internet doesn't forget. His firm, which touted itself on integrity and trust, had no choice but to let him go. His girlfriend, yes, he had one too, dumped him in spectacular fashion, uploading her own revenge post with screenshots and stories of her own betrayal. Turns out, I wasn't the only one Ryan had lied to. He had built a house of cards, and I was just the first one to blow. Friends stopped returning his calls. Mutual connections cut ties. He went from best man to man no one wanted to stand beside. Karma didn't knock. It kicked the damn door open, stormed into the reception, and lit everything on fire. People say weddings are about beginnings. Mine became a beautiful ending of a chapter one should have closed long ago. I didn't lose a wife or a friend. I lost two liars and gained the most powerful thing I ever had, truth. If you like this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more dramatic real-life betrayals and twists.